My revenue was up 30% last year on 2023. And that's a nice headline, but the backstory to that is my profit was down significantly through 2024. In fact, probably 50% decrease in profit, but my revenue was up 30% on the year before. So that's sort of the headline of this episode. I want to share with you why that happened. Hey, welcome to Aussie Online Growing on Shopify. This is episode 119, and I want to share with you today how I achieved a 30% increase in my revenue across the whole of 2024. So my revenue was up 30% last year on 2023, and that's a nice headline, but the backstory to that is my profit was down significantly through 2024. In fact, probably 50% decrease in profit, but my revenue was up 30% on the year before. And I've done calendar year versus, financial year, just because we often look at those sorts of stats when we look at our revenue in Shopify and things. So that's sort of the headline of this episode. I want to share with you why that happened and share with you sort of as a bit of an encouragement, maybe if you found your profit was down last year on previous years, or maybe your revenue was down, or you're looking to increase your revenue, is that growth is expensive. Growth costs a lot of money, and there are ways to grow cost effectively, but they always mean a long window of time. Like growing cost effectively or really efficiently or cheaply will always cost you a lot more in time. And that's an okay trade-off to make. You sort of just need to decide what you want to do, what sort of works for you in your business best. If you are at a stage where your business is quite large, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars a year or even millions of dollars a year, then growth for you looks very different to those of us, maybe like me, who've only been in business for a few short years. And so our growth we're looking for large percentages of growth because our business is only small. So a 30% growth for me is probably considered fairly modest in the e-com world for a business that's only 3 years old, because that still takes quite a few years to get me to doubling. But then after that, it'll be only 1 year to double that amount based off of what I've achieved in the last few years. So mathematically, these things all sort of, it can take a lot to really sort of settle within yourself and decide what path you want to take and what you're happy with as far as growth goes. But it is expensive. I've certainly found that through last year, that deciding deliberately that I was going to pump more cash into my business through 2024 because I really wanted to grow it, to broaden it. And if you've listened to any of my podcast episodes recently or been around for a few months, you'll know that lots of my episodes in the second half of 2024 were about growth and broadening my audience online. And those things don't come cheaply. There's money and investment decided in those decisions to grow my business. And the trade-off was my profit was smaller. I want to share a few things I spent a lot of money on last year with you today in this episode. And in my sort of typical anti-guru style, I do like to think of myself as a bit of an anti-e-commerce guru, because e-commerce gurus get a really bad rap, and often for good reasons. But in my anti sort of guru style, I want to share some realistic expectations with you in this episode. So if you're pushing for rapid growth in your business, then I'd encourage you to reconcile the fact that that's going to come with an expense. If you're looking to grow quickly and rapidly and kind of maybe corner a market or exploit a market or make the most of a new market, if you are listening to this and you are involved in AI in any way as far as growing a business using AI, based around AI, or leveraging that whole new industry, then these things are going to require an investment from you monetarily, not just in your time, but money as well. If you're looking to grow very steady, gradual, a bit more maybe predictable, a bit more steady is a good word. I like the steady thing. I have a podcast episode, I think it's number 92, all about my steady growth umbrellas for growing in e-commerce. So steady is like where I live. I like that zone. I feel like it's measurable, controllable, predictable to a point. There's only so many things we can control for. Then you can probably expect to grow cheaper. So it's not going to cost you as much as being more aggressive in growth, but you're going to need to be okay with it being over a much longer period of time and a much longer window. My costs last year increased in 3 areas, and the first one was customer acquisition. I spent a lot more on Meta in 2024 than I had in 2023, and that's for a couple of reasons. One of them was I really wanted to lean into Meta's AI offerings, and I dipped my toe a couple of times last year. I had success once, I had terrible results another time, limited success another time, incredible results another time. But I'm aware that being on Meta, working in the e-commerce world that I do and offering services to clients around Meta, I need to stay at the edge and the forefront of what Meta is doing and work it out. Like, there's a way to make it work to grow my business, the same as there's a way to make it work to grow your business. So I knew investing money in Meta through last year was going to be expensive. I was going to spend more than I had previously to really make sure I was testing a lot of the new features that Meta was rolling out. And Advantage Plus shopping campaigns was one of those features. It's been around for over a year now, so it's not a heaps new feature, but it's sort of becoming more stable. And I knew that by testing it every now and again, seeing what the results were for my own e-commerce store, it gave me better confidence and foundation and data and proof to offer it to clients, being able to advise them better on a strategy of, Advantage Plus shopping for their own e-commerce business, depending if their goals were to be really aggressive and go for the sale and the hard sell and bring in that like a larger wave of revenue versus spreading that over several months and looking for Meta to support their business in a different way, which is my favorite way, which is to get you really good leads. I love to use Meta to get me really good leads that then convert later via email. So that was one of my costs. I spent a lot to get my first time customers through 2024 on Meta, which is more expensive now than it's ever been too. That's not just a particularity about my business. Isn't it more expensive to be on the platform than it's ever been? And it will continue to go that way. Also, inventory. I spent so much on inventory last year, like more than the previous 2 years combined. I spent last year just in inventory. I had another delivery driver rock up this morning with a sack truck with 4 boxes piled up on it as well that I'm going to try and find room in my study and in my garage for. So I spent a lot on inventory through 2024, and I'm doing that because I need more inventory. My customers need to see more new, fresh, exciting things from me. I love to shop and buy new, fresh, exciting things for my own life and the things I value in my life, and my customers are just the same, that they want to see something exciting and fresh and new often. So inventory was a massive expense through last year. That's my second area that I spent a lot of money, and also some staffing support. So last year was the first full year that I had a bookkeeper help me. So she's helped me partway through 2023, but all through last year, she's been with me now for that whole full year, and she does my bookkeeping every month and my BAS statements every quarter. So that was an expense that I was deliberately choosing to commit to and set aside across the whole year, and that definitely ate into the money that I would have ordinarily paid myself as a wage and any sort of profit in my business through last year. So that's the 3 main areas. What's the very next step for your small business in growing online here in Australia? Often things like email marketing or Facebook ads are things that small businesses come up against often that can be really costly to solve and really hard to find someone that you trust to look after those projects. I work with small online businesses here in Australia on those 2 very things. They dovetail together so well. They support each other so well. In my own e-commerce store in 2024, 36% of all of my revenue came directly from email marketing efforts. And my total revenue across the year was up 30% on 2023. So I am perfectly placed to support you in growing online with your very next steps. I've sort of been told I am the small budget or baby budget Facebook ads specialist, and I totally endorse that and embrace it. I love that title. If you want to work on Facebook ads, I can work with a small budget or a large budget. Or if you want to work on email marketing inside Klaviyo or another CRM, I can build flows and segments for you to ensure your deliverability remains strong, because no one wants to end up in a spam folder that stops us from sending emails. Reach out to me for a free discovery call. You can put it right in my calendar and we can talk for 25 minutes about your business and how I'm best placed to support you for a 30-day project window. You don't need to sign up to a long, expensive retainer. We can work together one-on-one just for a small period of time to begin with on a specific project to see how well we work together and see what results I can get you and your business next. Now back to the episode. If you find yourself for 2025 looking for ways to grow your own revenue as well, I have 4 examples I can give you as areas to explore if you've not thought of them before, or more than likely you've thought of them before, but it's just you haven't been able to find the time or the energy or the resources to allocate towards these areas in growing online. So the first one is your email list. Do you have an email list? If you have one, when's the last time you sent them an email? And if you do email them, who are you emailing? How are you segmenting this list of people? You know, your email list is worth actual dollars. It's an asset to your business. I sold a very small e-commerce store at the end of 2023, and the email list made up a significant value of that business because it was barely profitable. I had sort of shelved it for a few months and lost love for it on the previous 6 months before I sold it. But the email list was healthy and strong. And I know that those email contacts I had built over the previous few years were a significant reason why I got to get any money for that business when I did sell it. So your email list is worth money. And if you email regularly and you're listening to this, I can hear you like nodding your head. Yes, like when send an email, segment an email, send an email, find a list, set some parameters around a segment and email them often, because you probably see the benefits of it for your own e-commerce store. So that's the first one. Like I said, it's not new. You have heard me talk about email all the time, and you probably know it's talked about a lot on many e-commerce podcasts for good reason. And if you just haven't got to the point of finding the time to do that or the resources to do that, I encourage you to consider that this year as an area to explore seriously, either yourself and DIY it or get some support, which I obviously offer email support with Klaviyo and email management, but find someone to help you do that this year if you just need the time to do it. And it's not, the money's not a problem to get somebody to do it, but you just need that time to do it, then it's going to be worthwhile for you. It will absolutely be worthwhile for you. The next one is your returning customer rate. What is your returning customer rate on Shopify? Are you nurturing repeat purchases through email and ads? Are you going back and reaching out to your previous customers through email, but also through ads? I started a new ad campaign this morning for my e-commerce store deliberately to my retargeted groups, my retargeted audiences, which we, if you were advertising on Meta maybe 2 to 3 years ago, we used retargeting all the time. It was a significant reason why many of us were able to make money and make profits with Meta back in like 2020 and 2021. Retargeting campaigns or retargeting audiences do not have the same bang for buck now in 2025 that they used to. They're still not they're not as valuable as they used to be, but I'm going to say that that's okay. So if that's true, if you hear a guru tell you retargeting is dead or some rubbish like that, then just listen to me instead. That's honestly what I feel like saying. It's not exactly true. Things are not that black and white. Yes, retargeting on Meta is significantly less performing than what it used to be. That's a given. I'm not going to argue with that, but it's not gone away forever. And it's still a valuable tool when used in conjunction with other campaigns. So if your returning customer rate is anything below 25%, you have significant room to be reaching out and retargeting and getting repeat purchasers who are far more cost effective to get to buy from you a second or third or fourth, 20 or 30 or 50th time over a brand new customer who's never shopped from you before. And you can do that often more cost effectively than a brand new customer through email 100%, but also through ads. So I could strongly encourage you to consider that this year if you need to grow your revenue and are looking for some ways to do it. That's my second one. So first one is email list. Second one is looking at your returning customer rate and seeing if there's room there for you to kind of get some of that low hanging fruit and get those people back again who've already shopped from you once before. The next one is your average order value. What's your average order value? Listen up if you are a big e-commerce store. If you have a large revenue a year, like $1 million a year or more, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, if you're a big e-commerce turnover brand, then your average order value, you have the opportunity to make some money really quick if you don't already have an in-cart upsell. I don't use an in-cart upsell app because they're so expensive. I do a bit of a back end post-purchase flow with Klaviyo that gets me a bit of a repeat purchase quickly from a customer within 24 hours of them shopping. But that's a clunky way of going about it, but it's a cheap way of going about it. But if you have a brand that's got a decent revenue, you're doing this full time, you potentially have staff and a team of people, and you want a quick win this year for revenue, then spend $100 or $200 a month on an in-cart upsell app on Shopify, because you will see the benefit for your business because you already have a large revenue, you have a lot of traffic and a lot of turnover through your website. You will see the benefit. It will totally pay for itself having an in-cart upsell app built into your Shopify cart. I don't. One day I'm sure I will, and I'll do it at a point when I know the benefits it's gonna be beneficial to me more than the cost of the app is every month. Those things are awfully expensive, but they're expensive because they work. They're expensive because it's a real guarantee almost of getting you a bump in your revenue. And if you are $1 million business a year, then 15% is a lot of extra revenue. For the sake of an upsell app that might cost you $1,000 across the whole year, then that's a no-brainer. That's mathematically an easy way to go. The last one is ads. Facebook, Instagram ads, Meta ads. And if you are active on your organic social media channels now, then boy, oh boy, you should be doing ads. If you are an active organic social media content creator, you have posts created, scheduled out, thoughts about it, you like to be on social media, then please spend some money on ads and push your content out further. Get more people to see it than who are currently seeing it. You will definitely see a benefit to your business if you already are strong on social media. If you like to post every day or 5 times a week and lots of different things, video, images, carousels, you're on a couple of different platforms and you know who you are. You know if you are the person that sees the value in organic social media and are spending the time on it, then you know that that's you and you should be spending money on ads. If you're not already, then I would encourage you 100% to go for a small budget and spend some money pushing out that content further to grow your audience even faster than just your organic efforts will do. I've been called before by a customer a baby budget Facebook ads expert, and I embrace that 100%. I thought that was the best description of me ever, and I loved it. So I've now sort of started to use that in a bit of an official way because I really like it. So I sort of consider myself to be the baby budget Meta ads specialist. And that's sort of where I'm going with this next little thing about why you should be spending money on Meta this year. And that's the first one is new customer acquisition, because your organic reach is limited and competition is fierce. Paid ads will push your content out further. And like I said, if you are already doing social media organically, then you will see the benefits of doing paid ads as well. You'll see a lift across your whole account. Your reach in general will lift across your whole account. For getting new customers, finding new people, you need the top of your marketing funnel to be far broader now than ever before. It used to be said that people or customers had 7 touch points with us as a brand to begin to know us, like us, and trust us enough to part with their cash and buy something. There's no way it's 7 touch points anymore at all. And I heard someone say, an e-commerce guru say last year it's more like 30 something touch points. Like a potential customer needs to see you 30 something times across different platforms and different mediums. Lead generation. This is my favorite thing to be using with Meta. It's worked really well for me in the last 3 months, and I'm looking forward to how well it's going to go this year. I've got to make sure I stay on the ball and change it up so it's fresh and it's something new for my potential customers to see online. But lead generation, this is for my podcast, I'm doing this, but also for my e-commerce store, is you need to be finding new potential customers or new potential clients through lead generation on Meta. Something like a giveaway or a coupon code or a quiz, something that's a bit fun, something that's a bit different. It's not a straight push for a sale. It's a long-term play. These people are coming to me from Meta to my website and signing up to my email list. Meta AI is getting stronger and it's getting better. Their AI offerings, they're pushing you to use them more. If you build ads yourself, you'll see this. You're sort of forced more to use them, and you have to really turn off many of the features that used to be there optional, and now they're kind of just like on by default. You have to go in and force turn them off at different stages. And now when I did a campaign this morning and I turned one feature off, it said, "Why are you turning this off? Are you sure you want to?" Yes, I'm sure I want to. So they're like, really pushing you down a road. But that's because that's their platform, and I need to work it out, and you need to work it out too. We want to find success on Meta and find our customers there, and they will be there. There's billions of people on the planet, and many of them are on Facebook and Instagram. Your customers are there somewhere. So I encourage you to lean into those AI parts of Meta, set some budgets and some experiment times that you're willing to spend a big budget and see what happens with that, and give it not a go, but experiment with it and then use the data afterwards to decide what to do next, because the platform is moving more and more that way anyway. So stick with it, work it out. That's what I encourage you to do. And a scalable budget with Meta, you can spend a small amount or you can spend a large amount. Like, it's expensive to grow, but you don't have to be super aggressive. But if you want to be super aggressive, then it's there for the taking. It's there for the taking to spend hundreds of dollars a day and lean into Meta's AI offerings and really let the algorithm start to find its feet for your business and get some great ground and some really great results for you. But you need to have that budget decided at the beginning that you're willing to invest that and see what happens, as opposed to going the baby budget route and spending a very small amount over a long period of time and kind of skirting the edges of all the kind of the tactics and the algorithms that Meta has to offer, and kind of leaning away from that side of it for now with a small budget. But if you're willing to lean into it with a big budget, go for it. I reckon you'll see great results this year. The scaling is expensive. Growth is expensive. But if there may be some areas where you can find some low-hanging fruit, I encourage you to go and look at those areas. Like I said, your email list, what's your average order value, maybe with an upsell, what's your returning customer rate, and do you have a great organic social media presence? Can you spend some money on ads this year and really boost that reach and see your existing content get out to more people? So if you're looking to level up this year, then just be a bit smart with how you approach it and be aware that you're kind of a bit of a trade-off. Like I said, you want to grow slower, steadier, more cost effectively. That's usually where I live. I feel happy in that place. I feel in control of my business, in control of the traffic I'm driving, how much I want to spend for it. Totally, go for it. You can do that through all of the ways I spoke about today. Meta ads, email marketing absolutely are your key. Or you want a more aggressive approach, you need to grow quicker and you just want to get your brand out there aggressively. You want direct sales. You need customers to come through, shop, check out. You want to see your revenue increase by far more than 30%. Maybe you want to double your revenue this year on last year. Then you can still do that, but with a combination of Meta and email marketing as well. You need to have the back end in play. Don't go spend $1,000 on Meta in the next 7 days with no back end support, no email pop up to capture people's leads, no email welcome flow or welcome series, no weekly campaigns to these people through segments. Make the most of the traffic you are driving so you're plugging that leaky bucket if you're going to be leaning into lots of budget spend with Meta this year. Either of those things work, they honestly do. You just need to decide what path is right for you. Thanks for hanging out with me in this episode, and I'll see you again in the next episode. As always, keep learning.